Hello everyone and welcome to today's video. Today we're going to be working on one of the projects that is a part of the new responsive web design course on freeCodeCamp. It's called Learn Intermediate CSS by Building a Picasso Painting. After we're completed with this project, we should have something that looks like this. So let's get started. Step 1. Start by setting up your HTML structure. Okay. Step 2, within your head element, add your meta tag with your char set attribute set to UTF-8. Also add a title element with the text Picasso painting. Go ahead and link your CSS file now, even though you have not written any CSS yet. Font Awesome is a library of SVG-powered icons, many of which are freely available to use. You will be using some of these icons in this project. You will need to link an external style sheet to your HTML. Add a link element with a real style sheet and an href to this link. Step 5. To get your painting started, give your body element a background color of red, green, blue. Okay. Within your body tag, add a divider element, give it an ID of black wall. Use the ID selector to give the element with the ID back wall a background color. Okay. Give back wall a width of 100%. And a height of 60%. Typically, HTML is rendered on the top-down manner. Elements at the top of the code are positioned at the top of the page. However, many times you may want to move the elements to different positions. You can do this with a position property. Set the position property to absolute. Absolute position takes the element out of the top-down document flow and allows you to adjust it relative to its container. With the element manually positioned, you can shift its layout with top, left, right, bottom. So the backwall element to have a top value of 0 and a left of 0. The z-index property is used to create layers for your HTML. If you are familiar with image editing tools, you may have worked with layers before. Elements with a higher z-index value appear to be layered on top of the elements with lower z-index value. This can be combined with the positioning and the prior lesson to create unique effects. Okay, so since the backwall element needs to appear behind the other, you'll be creating a backwall element with a z-index of -1. Okay, so z-index equals -1. Okay, create a div with a class of characters. Okay, create another div with an ID. Of off-white character. Create 4 divs inside your off-white. Give them the following ID values in order. This character needs eyes. Create 2 divs. In the black mask element, give them the class eyes left, eyes right, in that order. Create some dots for the instrument. Add 5 div elements within your gray instrument element. Set the class of each to black dot. Step 16, using an ID selector, create a rule for the element with the ID off-white character. Give it a width of 300, height of 550, and a background color of ghost white. Give it a position of absolute. A top value of 20, a left of 17.5. Using the ID selector, style the element with the ID white hat. Give it a width and height of 0, a border style of solid. This does not look quite right. Set the border width. There we go. Step 20, now you have a large box. Give it a border top color, border right color, border left color of transparent. Set the border bottom color to ghost white. This makes it look more like a hat. Step 21, give the hat a position of absolute. A top value of -140 and a left value of 0. Using an ID selector, create a rule for the element with the ID black mask. Give it a width of 100%, height of 50 pixels, and a background color of 453119. Give the mask a position of absolute. A top of 0 and a left of 0. To ensure you can see the mask, give it a Z index of 1. Using your ID selector, give the element the ID gray instrument a width. %, a height of 40%, and a background color of red, green, blue, 167, 162, 117. Next, move it into place with a position of absolute. Top value of 50 pixels and a left value of 125 pixels. Give it a Z index of 1. Select the class, use a class selector to create a rule for the element black dot. Give it a width of 10 pixels, a height of 10 pixels, a background color to RGB 45, 31, 19. Those dots are just a little too square. Give the black dot a class of border radius 50% to fix it. Move the dots into place with a display of block and a margin set to auto and a margin top set to 65%. Use the ID selector to style the 10 table. Give it a width of 450 pixels, a height of 140 pixels, a background color D2691 E. Move the table into place by giving it a position and a top value of 275 and a left of 15. Give the table a Z index of 1. After your div off white character element, add a div with an ID of black character. Within it, add 3 div elements with the following ID values in order. The mask needs eyes. Within your gray mask element, add 2 div elements. The first should have a class of eyes left and the second should have a class of eyes right. Time to use some font awesome icons. The eye element is used for idiomatic text or text that is separate from the normal text content. This could be for italic text such as scientific terms or for icons like those provided by Font Awesome. Within your white paper element, Add 4 I elements. Give them all a class value of fast for music. This special class is how Font Awesome determines which icon to load. The FAS indicates the category of icons, while the FA music selects the specific icon. Use an ID selector to create a rule for the element with the ID black character. Move the black character element into place by setting the position, the top, and the left. Use the ID selector to create a rule for the element with an ID black hat. Give it a width of 0, a height of 0, and a border style of solid. Set the border width of black hat, okay, 150px, 00, 300px. Just like you did with your white hat, you should style the border for the black hat element. Give it a border top color, a border right color, a border bottom color, and set the border left color to 453119. So border top color of transparent, border right color of transparent, border bottom color of transparent, and a border left color of 453119. Now position the black hat element. Give it a position of absolute, a top of minus 150px, a left of 0, using an ID selector, style the element with the gray mask. Give it a width of 150px, height of 150, a background color of RGB 167, 162, 117. Position it, so we'll do a position of absolute, a top of -10, and a left of 70. Step 46. Using an ID selector, create a rule for the ID white paper. Set the width to 400, the height to 10 or to 100, and a background color of ghost white. Give the white paper a position of absolute. Top of 250, a left of -150. Set the Z index to 1. Okay, so the font awesome icons come with their own styling. However, you can still set the styling yourself. You can change the color, the size for now, target the icons with the font music, set the display to inline block, and a margin top to 8%, a margin left to 13%. Below your black character element, add 2 new divs. Give them both a class of blue. Then give the first one an ID of blue left and the second one an ID of blue right. Use the class selector to target the new elements with a class blue. Set the background color. So we'll do a class blue, background color, set to that. Select the element with an ID blue left. Using an ID selector, give it a width of 500 and a height. Okay. Now target the element with an ID blue right using an ID selector, give it a width of 400 and a height of 300. Give the blue right element the correct positioning with position set to absolute, top set to 50%, and left set to 40%. Below your blue element, add a div, give it an ID of orange character. Within that orange character element, add 4 divs. The eyes div element should hold some eyes. Add 2 div elements inside, give the first a class of eyes left, and give the second a class of eyes right. Within your triangles div, you will need to add the elements that will become your triangles. Create 30 div elements and give each of them a class of triangle. Within your guitar element, create 3 divs. Give the first 2 a class of guitar. Give the first an ID of guitar left and the second an ID of guitar right. Add an ID to the third div with a value of guitar neck. Your third div should not have a guitar class. Use another font awesome icon. Use another font awesome icon for your guitar. Inside both the guitar left and the guitar right elements, add an I element and give it a class of fast vibrars. Select your orange character element with an ID selector. Give it a width of 250, a height of 550, and a background color of 240, 78, and 42. Give it a position of absolute. A top of 25%, a left of 40%. Style the element with an ID background hat using an ID selector. Set the width to 180, the height to 150, and a background color set to 45, 31, and 19. Give it a border radius 50%. Move it into place with a position of absolute. Give it a top of minus 100 px, a left of 5 px, Give it a z index of -1 to give it a correct layer. Use an ID selector to create a rule for the element with the eyes div. Now move the eyes div element into position with position set to absolute. A top set to -40 and a left set to 20. Give it a z index of 3. Target the element with the ID triangles using an ID selector. Set the width to 250 and a height of 550. Create a class selector for the triangle class. Set the width to 0 and a height to 0. Style the border to solid. And give it a border width of 42, 45, 45, and 0. Give your element the correct color. Okay, so we'll just copy paste this. Adjust the layout with the display of inline block. Now use an ID selector for guitar. Set the width to 100%, a height to 100 pixels. In the same guitar selector, set the position to absolute. A top of 120. A left of 0. Now use a class selector to target guitar. Give it a width of 150, a height of 120, and a background color set to golden rod, and a border radius set to 50%. Select the ID with the value guitar left and set the position to absolute and a left of 0. Same thing for guitar right. This time set the left to 100 pixels. Now you need to move the bar icons, create a class selector for the fa bars. With a display of block, a margin top of 30%, a margin left of 40%, use an ID selector to create a rule for the guitar neck. With a width of 200 pixels, a height to 30 pixels, and a background color set to D2691E. Now move the guitar neck element with a position of absolute. Give it a top of 45, a left of 200. Give the guitar neck element a Z index. Of 3. Okay. Now it's time to style the elements with the eyes. Create a class selector for eyes with a width of 35 pixels, a height of 20 pixels, a background color set to 8B4513. Give it a border radius set to 20 pixels at 50%. Target the class value to the right. Give it a position set to absolute. A top of 15 pixels and a right set to 30. Now let's do the same for the left. A position of absolute. A top of 15 pixels, a left of 30. Last step, target all of them with a class selector for fuzz. Set the font size to 30 pixels. And that's it. We are finished. Thank you for watching this video. Have a great day.